Ah, for the prairies wild and free, oh, for the Kansas plains, where man shall live in liberty, free from a tyrant's chains.
Okay, hi everyone. Today we're here to finish up talking about the Kansas-Nebraska Act. And
yes!
Avery here is joining us as our guest star today. We're so excited to have her.
Wait, isn't this about Abraham Lincoln?
No, sorry, not today.
Okay, well, then I guess I have no choice but to just leave.
Did she just leave? I guess. All right, let's just continue without her. Okay, so today we are going to talk about Bleeding Kansas.
Since it's not about Abraham Lincoln, it must be about Senator Hamilton. Right here on page 7, it says that his father left when he was...
Hold on. No. As much as I wish it was, it's not about Alexander Hamilton either. It's about Kansas bleeding.
You mean Bleeding Kansas?
Whatever, same thing.
Not really.
Ew, bleeding sounds gross and maybe sad, so I'll just sit here and be quiet.
Sounds good to me.
It was sad, Avery, you're right.
Where's she going?
I don't know. Okay, let's continue for real.
Okay.
Anyway, back to Bleeding Kansas. I'm so excited.
You're excited about blood? Seriously? What are you, a vampire? I can't believe I'm admitting this, but I actually can't wait to see what happens. Things were getting crazy when we left off. It was just like the Rumble and the Outsiders.
Totally. So no way, it's not about blood completely, because blood creeps me out too, but wait till you hear how our story on Kansas heats up. So much drama about to go down.
You didn't deny that you're a vampire, but I feel like I'm listening to a soap opera right now.
Totally. Okay, so you guys should remember from our last video that Stephen Douglas comes up with a plan to allow Kansas and Nebraska to come in to the Union as states. And they're going to use popular sovereignty to decide whether they'll be free states or slave states. Meaning they're going to let the people living in those states vote and decide for themselves.
Oh, right. I remember. That made senators bring knives and guns because they were so mad. They were bringing them into the Congress.
Exactly. And things go from bad to worse. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So after months of debate about this whole issue, Congress finally did pass the Kansas-Nebraska Act on May 30th, 1854.
So what happens? Do they come in as slave states or do they come in as free states?
Well, that's where things really heat up. So as soon as the act is passed, over 1,000 anti-slavery settlers from the north rush over and move into Kansas, and they bring their rifles with them.
Rifles? Uh-oh. It's almost like they're expecting trouble.
Yeah. The pro-slavery settlers get word that this is happening. So they all of a sudden rush into Kansas too.
Did they bring any weapons?
Yeah.
Why are all these people coming to Kansas anyway?
I'm so glad you asked. So remember that whole popular sovereignty part where they're going to let citizens vote on whether they want to be a free or slave state? Well, both sides of the slavery debate have people rushing over so they can try to swing the vote either way.
Oh, I get it. It's kind of like when I voted 1,000,000 times for Adam Lambert on American Idol, right?
Kinda. Just a little bit more serious than that.
Why do you have to always be so serious? Adam Lambert is bae. Okay, get back to the point. What happened with the vote?
So the pro-slavery settlers actually won the election.
No!
Yeah, I know. But then they were charged with voter fraud by the anti-slavery people. So then the anti-slavery voters decide, okay, well, we're going to hold our own vote then. So the pro-slavery voters refuse to go and vote because they're like, hello, we won the first time, we're not going to vote this time. So, of course, in this election, the anti-slavery people win because they're the only ones who voted.
What? And I thought the election between Trump and Hillary was crazy.
Yeah, not even close to this one. So now you have two separate governments in Kansas because each side is saying they're the ones who won. And this very quickly leads to violence because people are so upset. Over 200 people are killed in the fighting that happens over this. That's why we got the term Bleeding Kansas.
Got it. 200 people? Where in the world is the president and what is he going to do about this?
Well, we remember that Pierce is a weak president, but he supports the pro-slavery settlers who won in the first place. He doesn't think that there was any voter fraud. And he sees that things are getting out of hand. So he sends federal troops down to shut down the anti-slavery legislature that was created after the second vote.
This is so confusing. Two governments, people fighting. What is going on?
I know, it is out of control. So they hold another vote.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I guess the third time's a charm.
Yeah, not so much, unfortunately. What? So the pro-slavery voters win again, and yet again, they're charged with voter fraud by the anti-slavery settlers.
Maybe the saying is true that history repeats itself. Please tell me that someone comes in and fixes things?
Well, sorta, but not really. So Congress sees that things are out of hand, so they decide to let things cool down a little bit. They refuse to allow Kansas to come in as a state for 7 years. And by that time, the anti-slavery settlers had become the majority. There were more people living in Kansas that were against slavery. So they made a new constitution, and in January 29th, 1861, Kansas was admitted to the Union as a free state.
Perfect! No more slavery, everything's great. I'm so happy this turned out how it did.
Fortunately, it's a lot more complex than that. I agree that it's good that Kansas didn't allow slavery, but the Kansas-Nebraska Act was the last straw for these anti-slavery Northerners. They formed a new political party called the Republicans.
Oh, they're still around today.
Yeah, but not really. Political parties have changed a lot over time. So the current Republican Party is very different than the one I just mentioned. The kicker in Bleeding Kansas is that it represents the start of real violence over slavery. Those 200 people that were killed represents that the issue of slavery is leading to violence in the country. It leads the country one step closer to the Civil War, where even more lives will be lost over the issues dividing the country.